Week 7, Monday Night Football doubleheader, Bucs at Lions, Texans at Seahawks. Going to talk about both of these games, of course. Best bets for these games, Baker Mayfield, Seahawks to win the West, maybe, and much, much more. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you do not do so already. Let us know what you guys are betting in the comments below. I am Ninja. He is Tony Farmer. Welcome to the channel. Tony, first thing is first here. The Brian Branch suspension is absolutely massive in this game here. The Lions secondary already in rough shape, and it's now an even more precarious position for them. How bad exactly is this situation with the Bucs coming into town?
You mentioned their secondary being banged up. They've been without DJ Reed since week 4. They didn't have Terrion Arnold or Avonte Maddox last week. They're going to be out for this game. Patrick Mahomes looked really comfortable last week, didn't he, against that secondary? And that was with Branch in there. So I think there is some reason for concern. This is a game for me where if I see a guy like Kirby Joseph, the last guy standing, the last starter still in that secondary go down, or a backup like Rocky Sin go down, that's where you start to really take advantage of it live betting wise. So I think that's an angle to keep an eye on. But the guys in that secondary, I mean, have you heard of these guys? Thomas Harper, Amick Robertson, these are guys with no name value going up against Baker Mayfield. So yeah, I'd say it's a bit of a concern.
You talk about Patrick Mahomes looking comfortable. He's now, Tony, the favorite in MVP markets. But Baker Mayfield, Tony, should be on top of the odds board here. He's plus 300 behind Mahomes, who's now plus 175. These at DraftKings. Tony, is Baker Mayfield the NFL MVP right now?
If I had an MVP vote and the season ended today, absolutely it would go to Baker Mayfield. I feel like when you're looking for MVP, there's really 3 things that you're looking for, right? 1, you want those elite stats. He checks that box, 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. And did you know, Andrew, that he's actually averaging more yards per carry this season than Josh Allen and Kyler Murray? I bet a lot of people don't know that. But besides the elite stats, you need to win. We saw what happened last year with Joe Burrow putting up elite stats and not winning. The voters don't like to see that. Obviously checking that box. He's 5-1. The Bucs are on top of the division. But I think the third thing that you need where Baker's really excelling is those clutch moments where it's late in the fourth quarter. He pulls out a win out of his butt and he's got guys that are injured on his offensive line and wide receivers down and he's still gritting out those wins. He's checking all those boxes. He'd get my vote for sure.
Hey, he's got the Bucs at 5-1, and they've only got a plus 14 point differential. So as we've seen, he's getting it done in clutch situations here. But he's going to have his hands full this week because you got to talk to me about the health or lack thereof, Tony, of this Buccaneers offense, because there are some massive names that are on the injured list here, and it could have an impact on what we look for on player props here. But who's going to be missing here?
Yeah, wide receiver Chris Godwin already ruled out. Running back Bucky Irving already ruled out. Rookie wide receiver Egbuka, who's been playing really well, not expected to play. Mike Evans, keep an eye on him in practice. It looks like he's going to play, but who knows if he'll be 100% or not.
So in your opinion then, like who steps up for Tampa Bay on offense? Or maybe the better question is, who are some names we should be targeting in player prop markets?
I'd look at a guy like Rachaad White in the passing game. You know, he's the number 2 running back. He's going to be starting in place of Bucky Irving. Think about how Christian McCaffrey started to get extra targets in the passing game in San Francisco when they lost some wide receivers. I think that is, if I'm the Bucs offensive coordinator, that's what I'm looking at, is getting Rachaad White more involved. Don't forget, this guy's had 3 seasons of 50-plus receptions. He's a good receiver out of the backfield. The other guy that comes to mind that's going to have to step up is Mike Evans, but I don't advocate for him on his overs in this game. I think there's a big risk of him re-injuring that leg in this game. And all the Twitter doctors that I'm talking to say this does come with, not that I'm talking to, that I'm seeing on Twitter, say that this injury does come with a high risk of re-injuring it. And that's the worst way to lose props, right? When you go over, the guy starts off hot, gets 40 yards in the first quarter, and then gets hurt. I worry about that scenario a little bit for Mike Evans in this game. And are the Bucs rushing him back, Andrew? Because of all these other injuries on offense, is he coming back a little too early? It's something to consider.
Cade Otton, another guy whose name is being kicked around this week as a guy to potentially target in player prop markets. Tampa Bay, Tony, plus 5.5 going into this one. The total 52.5 with 2 really good offenses going into this one, shorthanded though they may be. Money lines have Buccaneers at plus 205, the Lions minus 250, of course, this one at Ford Field. What are you betting here?
I'm not betting in this one. I lean toward the Bucs here. They haven't lost a game by more than 6 points since week 7 of last year. They tend to keep it close. I could see a scenario, even if the Lions do get up big, that Baker could kind of get a backdoor cover here. So I'm not betting it, but if I had to, I'd go Bucs.
I'll get to Texans Seahawks in a moment here, but folks, sign up at Underdog today, and if you play $5, you can get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with the code UnderdogOS. Plus, they have a current deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus funds for new customers with their 50% deposit match. That's over at Underdog. Plus, Monday Night Football's gimme pick this week is Baker Mayfield for passing and rushing yards. So new customers can use that gimme pick where you can choose higher or lower on up to 8 of your favorite NFL player stats. The more you pick, the more you could win. So sign up through the link down below and use that promo code UnderdogOS. All right, Tony, game 2, Seahawks, 3-point home faves here. Total of 41.5 in this one against the Texans. But how important is that bye week for the Houston Texans after putting together a really good road win and getting that extra prep time for this one?
Yeah, you mentioned that really good road win, 44-10 over a beat-up Ravens team. Then the week before that, they beat the Titans 26-0. So they're coming off of 2 dominating wins, albeit against inferior opponents. But I've also heard some NFL players say, like, when they're rolling like that, they want to keep it rolling. So hopefully this bye week doesn't sort of interrupt the momentum that the Texans have built the last couple weeks. For what it's worth, D'Amico Ryan's 1-1 straight up and 1-1 ATS after a bye so far.
Yeah, good point. We often think of the bye week, as a boon for a team, but with them winning 2, getting their season really on the right foot after a slow-ish start, maybe that does slow momentum down. Going to be interesting to see what happens. By my count, Tony, the Seattle Seahawks could be unbeaten this year at 6-0. 4-point loss at home against the Niners, 3-point loss at home against Tampa Bay. Sam Darnold playing great this season, super highly graded at PFF. Is this a team now that is flying a bit under the radar right now, just sort of going about its business without a ton of fanfare?
They certainly are. I'm not sure the average NFL fan appreciates how good this team is. You go over to ftnfantasy.com, their defense, 2nd best DVOA against the run, 9th best DVOA against the pass, one of the best defenses in the NFL. Mike McDonald, the architect of all those good Ravens defenses that we've seen over the last few years, is now building that in Seattle, and they're a juggernaut on defense. They're a defense you don't want to play right now. You look at who Seattle's played so far this year, the 49ers with Purdy, the Steelers, the Bucs, and the Jaguars. Are those not 4 potential playoff teams right there? And they're 4-2 against that schedule. And as you alluded to, they've been competitive in every game this season, even the ones that they've lost. So yeah, Seattle's playing really well.
So on that note, Rams plus 140, Niners plus 160. Seahawks plus 275, Tony, to win the NFC West. Am I insane, or is that the best value in division futures markets right now?
I like it like you do. That's definitely a nice number. I think this question would be a lot easier to answer after the trade deadline. I'm curious to see how these GMs in the division are going to react to that trade deadline. It's particularly a team like the 49ers. Are they going to be buyers or are they going to be sellers? Are they going to trade away Brandon Ayuk and Juwan Jennings, or are they going to acquire a pass rusher like Trey Hendrickson? That matters a lot in this market. Do remember that the Seahawks currently lose the tiebreaker to the 49ers if they were to, finish both at the top of the division. Seattle does have 2 games left against the Rams. So 3-horse race, almost 3-1 odds here. And I would argue with the 49ers just losing Warner and having lost Bosa earlier this year, we're kind of expecting them to trail off. But again, if the 49ers make an acquisition, all of a sudden they look a lot more competitive in the division. Maybe you regret making this this bet on Seattle. So just something to consider.
Let's wrap it up here. Seattle -3 at home here. Total of 41.5. The under -115. Money lines have Houston at plus 140. The Seahawks -166. What do you like in this one?
I'd lean toward the under in this one. I don't have a bet on the side because I just don't know what to make of this Texans team. They've got to kind of prove it to me. I want to bet the Texans. I like what the Texans can be, but they started off so poorly, and their last 2 wins have been against, as we said, inferior opponents. So they've got to prove it to me before I can bet on the Texans, but I do lean under here.